In this video, we will introduce the Solutions feature for Designer Plus that can help you estimate the equipment needed to meet code requirements for your projects. Please note you should refer to local building energy code or the authority having jurisdiction for your precise requirements. Only the AHJ can guarantee code compliance. Open Designer Plus. If this is your first time, log in with your My Lutron credentials. Click Create New Project. For our project today, we're going to use Coopersburg, Pennsylvania in the United States of America. Be sure to give your project a meaningful name. You can select the space type here as well. We're going to use commercial office. Import your floor plans as PDF files or images. Set the scale to get accurate wireless and sensor ranges by drawing a line on a known distance. Let's zoom in using our scroll wheel. I happen to know this F1 fixture is a 2x4 fixture, so we'll start by clicking at the top and dragging down to the bottom and releasing, and setting that as 4 feet, and click Done, and that will set your scale. If you don't have your scale window visible, you can push the S button, and that will pull up the scale window, or alternatively, you can right-click and say Show Scale. Remember to click Done when you're finished. Now let's look at some solutions. Click the Add Solution button under the Solutions menu here, or click the plus button. Accept the code compliance disclaimer. Remember that only an authority having jurisdiction can guarantee code compliance. Use the Solutions feature to browse predefined room type solutions filtered by energy code and construction type. For today's example, let's use IECC 2015 and new construction. Be sure to include a Vive starter hub for system integration, time clock, load shed, energy monitoring, etc. Our space has a private office. If we look at that, we see the sequence of operations and the devices that will populate with this space. Click Add Solution to put it on your palette. Be sure to click Done when you're finished. Select the solution and click it on the floor plan to stamp it. This automatically adds all the devices you need for the solution to this room. Let's start with our private office. We happen to have one at Office D, Office C, Office B, and Office A. And if we look at our executive office, it's a little bit bigger and will likely require more controls. So let's stamp one there. And then we'll click on the letter to bring up the menu to edit it, and we'll add a 0 to 10 volt control and a wireless control. Click Save, and you'll notice it has now added an extra POW pack and an extra Pico. If the situation requires a more precise design, you can click the solution and draw an area and place fixtures to detail out the areas and device placements. Let's look at our Open Office North. In this space, we'll drop an open office, and then we'll edit it and say draw an area and place fixtures. This will default us to a rectangle. If we click at the top end and drag over to the bottom corner and click again, we can give our open office a name. And now we can begin to stamp fixtures for each spot on the floor plan. When you come to the end of a run, you can either double click or hit the escape button, and the next row of fixtures will start on a new circuit. And here I'm going to click and hit the escape button to start my next row. Once you've drawn your fixtures, you can click Done, and it will automatically populate the number of load controllers needed for that number of circuits. You can then move your occupancy sensors to guarantee coverage in your space. If your area is not a rectangle as our corridor is, you can change the shape of the area you're drawing. Let's try that here. If we start with our egress corridor, and we'll say we're going to draw it, we need to change our shape to a polygon. And you start at the top and click over at each corner. Double click when you've come to the end, and we'll name that. And now we can draw and stamp the fixtures. Click Done when you're finished, and it will automatically populate your corridor. Now it's given us a hallway sensor here, which we should probably move down to the bottom. And we'll turn it so it looks the appropriate direction. And we'll probably need one more sensor to view this side. So let's add one more hallway sensor. And we'll turn it so it views the appropriate direction. And now let's finish our drawing. Now that our floor plan is complete, let's turn off our occupancy layer. And we can see we're left with this window that has a small circle. We want to move, that's our wireless hub range, and let's move that so he's a little bit more centrally located. And zoom out, and there's your overall picture. Now that we've completed our quick design, you can export reports to help quote and sell it. Let's open the report center. Select the reports you'd like. We're going to look at the bill of material, the system layout, the dynamic riser diagram, and the sequence of operations. You can preview and export the reports here. If we look at the bill of material, it gives you a clear list of the equipment needed and lets you easily export for a quote. If you've done a detailed layout, the system layout report lets you export your design on the floor plan to showcase scope of your work, placement of devices, etc. The dynamic riser diagram offers a high-level overview of your project, neatly organized by room, floor, and communication link type. You can view by area as we're doing here, and let's zoom in so we can see what that looks like. We can see our Open Office North is shown here. Alternatively, you could view it by room type, and you've got to refresh your report. And then if we zoom in again here, we can see it's giving us typicals. So a typical private office, a typical egress corridor, a typical multi-stall restroom. We also have our open office and our conference room. The sequence of operations report categorizes rooms based on their functionality and provides a clear, consistent narrative of the area's behaviors. There are many other reports you can preview and use, shown here on the Options tab. As you put in more information into Lutron Designer Plus, such as drawing the area shapes, laying out fixtures and devices, and making connections, you can leverage more documents to showcase the detail on the project if you so choose. You can learn more about Lutron's Designer Plus by exploring the Quick Start videos here under the tutorials list. And for more detailed videos, you can view the tutorials available under the Help menu. For your larger and more complex jobs, you can share your Lutron Designer Plus file with your Lutron project manager so they can hit the ground running.